Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Thank you for tuning in to my what could have been my makeup look for my birthday. So I'll start off with the first thing that I apply on my face, which is a translucent powder. I hope you saw the brand there. I'll make sure to list all the products that I used down in the description box for you guys. So now what I normally do is put powder on my face before I move on to doing the brows and the complexion, mainly because I've got oily skin, as you can tell maybe from all the spots on my face. That is all my acne. So I do powder first to basically have a better oil control throughout the day. So for instance, for my birthday I could have had like something planned, go out on a date, or just going out to have lunch, whatever. I'll be out in the sun or I'll be outside, so I'll be producing a lot of oil. So that's what I go in with first. And then next up, I'm taking my correcting concealer from L.A Girl, and I'm just applying that all over the dark spots. And of course, as you may tell, this is to cover all my dark spots. And then when I apply my foundation later on, hopefully those marks won't come through or won't still be showing. So that's basically the main purpose, and I'm just gonna do that all over. As you can see, my face is literally covered up in all these marks. If you guys have any advice on how I can treat that, please do leave comments down below of products that may have worked for you. Yeah, because I've kind of just accepted this, but not entirely, not entirely. As you can see, it's a struggle for me, but you know what, because I don't do makeup all the time or every day, I just allow my skin to breathe or just be. But days like your birthday and on special occasions where I really want to look good, I apply makeup, and this is how I do it. And I make sure to cover all these marks so that I look somewhat, not flawless, but I mean close enough, So I'm time-lapsing this whole thing because I did not want this video to be too long. So yeah, I hope you don't mind that, you guys. And I think I'm still able to show you guys how I do everything, even with the time lapse. Sorry that I've applied. So next up, I'm going to fill in my brows, and you guys are about to see the technique I use. I don't know if it's a technique, but just how I apply it. I really love the natural brow look. It's my favorite, but because I don't have the ideal products to achieve that, I just use what I have. So in this instance, I'm using a brown brow pencil, or it's just it's eyeliner. They call it an eyeliner, but I use it for my brows. I do also use it for liner. I think I've used it here as a eyeliner as well. I've used it on my waterline, which you guys will see as the video proceeds. So as you can see, how I'm applying it is just drawing strokes in the direction of my natural lashes. So that's how I am able to achieve that almost natural looking brow. It's just more filling in some of the empty spaces between the brow. And yeah, all simply using a pencil. So also preaching the fact that you just use what you have, guys. Don't always be quick to rush out and buy products, because some of these techniques, you find that they are in trend and there's this new product for that, and then you go out and buy it, but maybe later on, again in the next couple of months, another trend for brows or whatever it is has come through. There's a new product for it, and then you rush and go buy that. So you'll end up with just a bunch of products that go unused. So I've been using a brow pencil for the longest time, from ever since I started, you know, doing makeup. So I just use that and achieve that trendy look, you know. So right now, as you may see, I showed you I'm using another shade of L.A Girl concealer, pro concealer. Now this one I use to highlight. I use it to highlight all the they say it's the highest points of your face that you need to highlight, so that's what I'm about to do. And I'll be doing that using a brush. Okay, before I did that, I need to clean up my brow, so that's what I'm actually doing here with that. And I don't know, for some reason, I think because I was using natural light, like proper natural light, I found that the LA Pro concealer, which I applied first, as you can see, it seemed a bit too light for my liking. So what I did, I switched it up to my Wet n Wild highlighter also, and because it's about a hair or 2 shades darker, or even close to my skin tone, yeah, I decided to use that as what I clean up with, because I don't want the brow to be like in your face. I want it to pop and look too bold, hence I changed the what is it, the concealer color, or rather that's why I switched from the LA Girl one to the Wet n Wild one. Is it Wet n Wild? Yes, Wet n Wild one, because it's slightly less bright for me. And then as you saw, I blended the whole concealer right down to my eyelid, my whole eyelid, and now I'm just setting. And that's very important before I go in with eyeshadow, as I will later on. I need to set that concealer, and I use my translucent powder, the same one I used for my face, before doing everything else. So now I am doing my complexion. I mean, the order of how I do my makeup, you guys, it's just up and down. Sometimes I forget, or what am I supposed to do next? So, you know, sometimes you find that I start off with my complexion before I get onto brows, and then in this instance I just happen to start off with my brows first before applying my foundation. So I just switch up my order, you know. Yeah, I don't really do a step by step. It, like, the process is, you know, gonna be a step-by-step kind of thing, but it's not how I always do it. It's not the same procedure that I always follow, is what I'm trying to say. So yeah, and again, you know, makeup, I really love it because you just play around, you guys. So excuse me, there's no wrong or right way, you know. At the end of the day, you're gonna end up with sort of more or less the same result. So as you can see here, by the way, I was using 2 different foundations here because, like, I'm still at a stage where I'm trying to figure out the correct shade for my tone, for my skin tone. So with the ones I have, like, both of these, I've got 3 rather, and 2 of those are from L'Oreal Fallible something, I forgot. I'll list it down in the description box. Those 2, I thought they would be a good match, but when they oxidize, or once they've set on my skin, like, they just turn me to be quite darker than I actually am. So on my, is it my left or right, on my other cheek, I used the newly added, and here I'm showing it, newly added foundation from Catrice, I believe. And yeah, it also seemed to be a better match for me, and a bit lighter than the L'Oreal ones that I have. So I decided let me apply the L'Oreal one on one cheek, or on one side rather, and then the catrice one on my other side. And as you can see, I'm showing you that it's like two different colors, you know, or shades rather, but slightly similar, you know. So I just carried on then with that, because I know that later on I'll be applying my highlighter, and highlighter usually helps when your foundation is seeming to be a bit darker or making you look darker. With highlighter you can kind of correct that a little bit, or bring your face or your tone, your whole how can I put it, like the whole tone of your face, and it's gonna be dimensional with the different colors that you're applying to your skin, but the overall look won't be, you know, too or as dark as it was before you applied your highlighter. So I really love using, you know, highlighter for that reason, because it kind of balances your face out, you know. And if your foundation seemed too dark, you know, you can always rely on highlighter to fix that problem. And as you can see here, I'm applying it under my eyes. Yes, as I said, I really love this step. Yeah, and I basically rely on this. So every time I use or put makeup on, you know, I can't go without applying highlighter. And again, it's important because it kind of brings back dimension to your face, because when you apply foundation only and do everything else without putting highlighter or contouring, you'll find that your face will apply quite flat, you know. And I'm sure if you've been watching a lot of makeup tutorials, you've heard from the person that you're watching that, you know, highlighting and contouring is it's effective because how your face looks naturally, it's not one color throughout. You have darker parts and you've got lighter parts. So if that's what you're trying to achieve, in case you didn't understand, but why are we doing all of these steps and why is it taking so long, it's because you want to really define your face and give it like a flawless look, which kind of represents your natural look, but more flawless in terms of like marks and, you know, imperfections. So that's all you're doing. I hope you guys get what I'm saying. I feel like I'm rambling, but yeah, man, that's the best way that I can explain it. And so I'm just highlighting and also using it to define parts of my face. I love that highlighter also brings out the shape of my eyes, you know, and it just brightens my under eye. You know, I really like that look. It makes you look woke, like you didn't just, you know, get out of bed, for instance. So I really love that. It just wakes your face up. It just gives your whole face a facelift. Yeah. Alright, you guys, so now I'm just continuing off with blending out that highlighter. Just blending, and then now I've taken the brush that I used to blend out my contour, right? And I like this brush. I don't know what they call it. It's a bit slanted. It has a high point and low point. I just love the angle of it because it allows me to just effortlessly go up and down my jawline. As you can see here, it's going up and down, and I'm just blending as I go. And just so you guys know or note, I'm not rubbing the brush against my skin. I'm dabbing dabbing on it, because once you drag the brush, it's gonna create lines and you don't want that. So yeah, it's important to dab as you blend and not necessarily brush, you know. So I'm just blending. And apparently this, because I don't know if you guys, and I'm just gonna body shame myself here for a second, I have a big forehead. So with contouring around my around my forehead, along my hairline basically, apparently that gives the illusion of a slightly smaller forehead. So I don't know if that works for me, but I do it anyway because, you know, in case it's actually doing that, then it's great. Otherwise, not to say I'm not, you know, in love with my forehead. I love it. It's what makes me look how I look. So I love it and appreciate it. So what follows after blending out your contour and highlighter, I set. And what do I use to set? Powder, translucent powder, the very same one. I have two different ones, but I use this one the most because it works for most skin tones. It's like a neutral kind of tone, so I use it for everything to set, powder my face before I apply foundation. So as you're seeing here, I'm using another kind of brush which I find effective with setting under my eyes, setting on the bridge of my nose, and then over here I'm just trying to carve out that contour. And yeah, I've seen, you know, other people, because I watch a lot of tutorials, guys, and that's how I've learned how to do my makeup. So yeah, I'm just carving out that contour with that because I've seen that being done, and I was just playing around, you know, just to see if it does work, and it looks like it does. So now I'm also setting my chin because I applied highlighter there. I really love applying highlighter on my chin as well because my chin is closest to my chest, my neck and chest. So it gives the illusion that my face color, you know, it's like continued onto my chest. I don't know if that makes sense, but you know, when you have makeup on and people just immediately pick up that you've got makeup on, because where you've ended off with your foundation, there's like a very stark, you know, sort of difference between your face and your neck. So with highlighting your chin, it kind of gives the illusion that, you know, you're not really different from the rest of your body in terms of, you know, your color. So I really love it. I never ever go without highlighting my chin. You know, maybe that's weird, but yeah. So right now I'm using my James Charles eyeshadow palette, and I'm about to do my my eyeshadow. I'm about to do my eyeshadow. So what I do is start off applying color onto my crease. That section that I'm busy coloring around, that's my crease, I believe. It's a transitional color that I'm applying. It's like a very warm brown, you know. It borders on orange as well. It's got a bit of orange in it. Yeah, but you know, guys, I'm not a makeup artist, so. And there's a paper that comes in with this eyeshadow palette. It's got like the different names for the different colors. So for the purpose of this tutorial, this video, I mean, I thought it's probably not necessary, you know, because the idea is for you to just play around with whatever you want to play around with. So I'm not gonna call out the name of the color, you know. I'll just pick and then apply to my, you know, liking, to my satisfaction. Now I'm smoking out my eye, starting from the outer corner of my lid, and I took a slightly darker color. It's like a dark brown, but once I'm blending it on here, I feel like it's giving me like purple shade in a way. yeah, like a purple or dark something. But I'm basically smoking it out, and yeah, let's just be trying to decide which color to go with in next. I was going for a very quiet look, not loud in terms of colors. I'm just going crazy with colors. I normally don't do a lot of colors, because I normally don't have time, and I'm always running late when I decide to putting my makeup on, when I'm getting ready or going somewhere. So I opt for just very simple look. Sometimes I don't even do eyeshadow, because I find that it takes the most of the time. Already I took a lot of time on the complexion part of it, so doing the eyeshadow, it's like double that time. Applying eyeshadow, it's double the time. So yeah, I thought, okay, let me just go for something that will be straightforward. And I've basically applied 3 colors max. That's it. Only 2 from my James Charles eyeshadow palette, and then 1 from my Wet n Wild eyeshadow palette. And yeah, so what I was trying to do here is like fake a cut crease, kind of a blended out cut crease. So yeah, that's where I ended it. So now up next, I chose I didn't choose another color. I went in again with the smoky color, but just applying it under along my waterline, not along my waterline per se, but right under my waterline. I really love this. It also defines the eye a bit more. Yeah, and I feel like it's a more elevated eyeshadow look rather than just finishing it off at the lid only without going under your eye, and yeah, I wasn't quite happy with how I did it here, but because it was already on, I wasn't about to take it off, so I went in with a lighter shade color. I think the orangey light browny color, which I used for my transitional color. I took that and went over it just to kind of dust off some of the dark eyeshadow that I applied. So kind of didn't help much, but that's just how I tried to save the whole thing, to save myself from having like a little bit of a heavy hand on the one eye. I don't know if you guys can see it. If you would look closely, the one eye, it's a bit darker. Right, so now I've taken a shimmer color just to highlight under my brow. That's basically on the brow bone, is what it's called. And yeah, just to define my brows a bit more. So now that I'm through with that, I am setting the rest of my face with the same powder, same translucent powder, and just going all over my face. That's very, very important after you've applied creamy products, because I learned that there's powder foundation as well, which I'd actually like to try because it seems to be what should work for me in terms of my skin type. I've got oily skin, so a powdery products work better for oily skin because they control oil better. And that's just the simplest way to put it. So I should try that. I've never tried a powder foundation before, so I should try that. Now I'm going back to my James Charles eyeshadow palette, and I've picked out sort of a rosy, not rosy even, but a bronzy color, and I'm applying that as a blush color. And I learned, as I've been watching, tutorials that you can actually use, an eyeshadow palette for that. You don't necessarily need to have a blush powder separately. So it's like multifunctional, eyeshadow palette. So I really love that about it. So I just picked a color that I felt would be a nice bronzer, and I would say I basically bronzed and blushed in one go, and that's just the ways that I've found to cut down on the time I spend applying makeup. So I tried that out, it seemed to work, it brought in some color to my face, and now I took my makeup fix spray, and I just sprayed that all over my face, and that usually means you are done with your makeup. And yeah, alright, so this part is basically the end of it. I forgot to show you guys, well, not show you, but applying lip gloss because I couldn't find it. But my makeup is basically done. That's how I do it. Just gonna slap on that lip gloss as soon as I find it, and then we are through. Thank you so much guys for watching, and hope to see you again next time on my next video.